Let's talk about Boston College for a moment, because this is a team last year that went 7-6 after making a bowl game, beat the American Athletic Conference champions in SMU, who many people felt should have had an opportunity to play in the New Year's Six bowl game. Myself among them, by the way. I thought they had a tougher path to get there than Liberty, who went 13-0. But I digress. This is a Boston College team that lost their head coach. You don't hear that often after a successful season like that unless, well, he's taken a higher profile head coaching job, right? No, he's the defensive coordinator now with the Green Bay Packers. Jeff Hafley said, this college football thing, not for me. I want to get up to the NFL. So that, of course, in the coaching carousel set off a couple of moves. Bill O'Brien was going to be the OC at Ohio State. Nope, he's going to be the head coach of Boston College. Chip Kelly, he's the head coach at UCLA. Nope, he's the OC at Ohio State, and Deshaun Foster takes over at UCLA, who I talked about on yesterday's show. But I think Boston College is an interesting team because they have one of the lower win totals in the ACC. It's 4.5, and I don't know if it should be that low. That's expecting regression in the eyes of the FanDuel sports betting community, who, of course, we get our odds from here at the Locked On Network. 4.5, that's a very low win total. There are some conferences where that's the lowest or second lowest win total you'll see from anyone. Every now and then, a 2.5 or a 3.5 will pop up, or, God bless their souls, New Mexico, with a 1.5 win total over in the Mountain West. Yes, I assure you that's a real thing. If you feel better about it, hey, first-year head coach Bronco Mendenhall. Just win 2 games. He could make you money. But I digress once again. Boston College is a team. I don't know why that win total is so low. And certainly a new regime coming in, who's a proven head coach, by the way. Last time I talked about Bill O'Brien on the show, I talked about his resume. Go look up his coaching record. Go look at what he did with the Texans or what he did at Penn State. He's won a lot of football games, and he's not coming in to a complete and total teardown and rebuild. And Boston College has done some good things in the transfer portal this offseason. They've brought in 10 guys total, not a big class, but 8 of those 10 guys are coming from other Power 4 schools, and several are going to make an impact this year. So I think that's pretty solid. A couple of those guys came from Ohio State, even former blue chip recruits. Bill O'Brien, who was there for about an hour, said, hey, you want to come play for me at Boston College? You can probably start. And they said, okay, let's go do that. So I think the Eagles are one of those teams that you need to think about if you're an ACC fan, because every single year, last year was Virginia beating North Carolina, just as one example. You have got a bottom tier team that no one expects anything of that beats someone who you do expect things of. I think Boston College can be that team in the ACC this year. Let's take a look at their schedule real quick, and we'll circle back to this after we hear an audio clip from AJ Black of Locked On Boston College. They close with 4 out of 5 games at home to end the year. That's not bad. Now, the start of their schedule, a little bit tougher, but as far as ACC schedules go, I've seen worse. You get a loss out of the way early. Begin the year on a Monday, September 2nd, day before my birthday, as a matter of fact. Boston College will travel to Tallahassee and play Florida State on ESPN, where they will probably lose. That's just a reality. Boston College last year darn near pulled the upset. They're on the road this year, and Florida State's not going to let that happen. So, that'll be an 0-1. But then you go through their first 5 games, and you're saying, well, I see a world in which they start 3-2. They have Duquesne the following week. I hope you win that game. At Missouri. I don't think they're winning that one. And then Michigan State, Western Kentucky. Boston College could get into the heart of their ACC schedule and be a 3-2 football team. Are you ready for that? I don't know. You tell me. Because then they would need to win just 2 games from there on out to go over their win total. And 4 of their final 5, as I mentioned, are at home. Louisville, Syracuse. Then they go at SMU. Then they play North Carolina and Pitt. I mean, Pitt's a solid team. Syracuse should be all right. Louisville's good. North Carolina, I'm not very high on. SMU, they're new to the Power 4 ranks. You tell me they're going 0-5 in those games? Because I don't see it. They played the Virginia schools in the weeks prior. And AJ Black, our Locked On Boston College host, is exceptionally high on the Eagles this year, I think he lays the argument out pretty darn well.
AJ Black here. Looking at expectations for the upcoming season, what does Bill O'Brien need to do? He needs to push this team forward. Yes, they went 7-6 last year. Yes, they beat SMU in the bowl game. But what we need to see is some continuity and improvement. The defense looked pretty poor last year. We didn't see a lot of improvement in terms of what they were able to do as the season went along. We hope that the new staff that Bill O'Brien brings in will be able to do that. But Bill O'Brien's an offensive guy. You know, when you look at that schedule, you'll look at some tough teams, but BC has the talent on their roster that could make them a bowl-eligible team. I don't care that they're playing Missouri, Florida State, UNC. You know, this team can shock some teams out there. Thomas Castellanos with Bill O'Brien could be one of the biggest undersold stories in college football. Last year, Thomas Castellanos ran for over almost 1,200 yards. He had over a dozen touchdowns with his feet. He threw for over 2,000 yards. The big issue with him, he struggled with his accuracy. What is Bill O'Brien known for? His ability to coach quarterbacks. You have a quarterback with a good skill set that he's going to be able to improve upon and build upon. I expect Thomas Castellanos to take that next step with a good group of wide receivers. That offense is going to be good. And I think this team should win 6 or 7 games this year and set themselves up for a 2025 season where they have a very favorable schedule. So I think a goal for this season should be a bowl game for BC. The over-under right now is 4.5 wins. I think 6 wins is an easy over for this team. I'm not just being a homer here. I look at what they have. I look at a coach that has the experience at both the pros and college level and can do this and bring it to Boston College.
Yeah, he likes him. No homerism to be found. I think he makes a lot of valid points. And look, I go down their schedule. Do I think they're beating Missouri or Florida State, as I mentioned? No, but some of the other names on their schedule. Think about like a Louisville at home. Remember, undefeated ACC champion Florida State went to Boston College last year, could have lost the football game. Boston College fans might tell you they should have lost the football game. So don't tell me that something can't happen there. Let me ask you this question. Between Virginia Tech, Louisville, Syracuse, North Carolina, and Pitt, how many of those games do you think Boston College can win? How many do you think they should win? Just on paper. On paper, Pitt might have higher expectations. North Carolina might have higher profile. Syracuse has got a bigger name quarterback. Louisville had a better season a year ago. Do you think they're losing all 5 of those games? I think the SMU game is already a toss-up. I think Virginia is a game they could win. This could be a 4-2 football team. There is an absolute world in which Bill O'Brien's Boston College Eagles are 4-2 before they get into the meat of their schedule. But knocking Florida State out of the way early sets up for a favorable back half. And I think AJ makes some points that are worth considering if you are a friend or if you are a fan of our friends over at FanDuel. 4.5. That's a win total. I think I'd lean the over. I think they're getting it. I know they're getting at least 2. At least 2. Remember, Michigan State is rebuilding way more, and they have lost way more in the transfer portal than Boston College has in the spring window in particular. Michigan State's been gutted by the transfer portal. That's going to be a rebuild team in East Lansing for Jonathan Smith and company. You got a couple of first-year head coaches who have proven to be successful at the college level, and Bill O'Brien is inheriting a better situation than what they've got at Michigan State. So, and that game is at Alumni Stadium in Chestnut Hill. I'm just saying that could be a 4-2 football team before they play a bunch of ACC opponents. I think Boston College is a team that when you think about programs you don't expect much of, who win a game that make you go, huh? What? I would look at that Virginia Tech game, though it's on the road. I would look at that Louisville game. I would look at that North Carolina game and say, do not be surprised if Boston College pulls an upset. We're talking FanDuel. It's winner take all time in the NBA and NHL, and FanDuel's giving you a shot to bring home a big win of your own. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 to bet on spreads, money lines, player props, and more. You can bet everything you could possibly want for college football right now. Individual games are available to bet. It's not as far away as you think. You can bet win totals, conference title odds, national championship odds, Heisman odds, everything you need. Go visit FanDuel.com/lockedon, make every playoff shot count, and get your college football gambling fix as well. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook and our official sportsbook sponsor here at the Locked On Network.